After the really fucked up events in Orlando this past Saturday/Sunday that dominated the news and dominated a lot of the conversation around here as well, up here in Canada, I was really hoping that Monday Night Raw WWE would give me a decent distraction, you know, lighten the mood type thing. Give me a pretty, like an okay, decent, productive, effective go-home show for Money in the Bank, which is looking pretty awesome for Sunday. And I gotta say, I wasn't disappointed. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with your June 13th Raw review, with your Go Home Raw to Money in the Bank review. As I said in the open, lots of fucked up events in Orlando Saturday night/Sunday morning. I did have a big rant, especially WWE did, as they always do when stuff like this happens. They had their moment of silence. They had all the wrestlers out there. The fans were respectful for the most part. There are occasions in the past where they've done a moment of silence like this and people do the what chants or something fucked up like that. I was going to come up here. I was going to... this one hits a little close to home for me. Those of you that know me... say what you want. Make all the jokes you want. I'm straight, for anybody out there that's actually wondering. There are way too many people in my life that are something other than straight, somewhere on the LGBT spectrum, for what happened in Orlando to not hit me particularly hard. I have members of my family that are something other than straight. I've sat at their weddings. I've been at their, you know, stags and does. I've been at their anniversaries. I've seen some of the most happy friends I have be something other than a heterosexual man and woman relationship. I'm not going to lag on this too long, but I do really have to say something. I'm not going to get into some big political diatribe, but what I am going to say, as I say, I joke around a lot on here. If you want to make... There are certain jokes that I will take. Ha ha ha, Spaz doesn't like Titus O'Neil, he must be a racist. Or Spaz didn't like that particular Divas match, he might be sexist. And I laugh it off because if there's even a shred of honest opinion in anybody that has said that about me, I'm just going to laugh at you. What I will say, without hesitation, without regret, if you are a homophobe of any size, description, or whatever, there's a box up there. Get the fuck off my channel right now. I don't need the subs that bad, and that's not to disrespect my audience. You guys know I just hit 612 on my sub count. I don't need that bullshit here. If you are anybody that has gotten onto the absolutely ridiculous arguments that have gone on this year, you know, thinking you've got the right to tell somebody where they can piss or tell somebody who they can get married to, you can fuck the fuck off. If you are anybody like a Donald Trump who can look at the tragedy of this past weekend and use it as a ha ha ha, look at me, I was right about terrorism, or even, you know, the oh my god, the beloved Bernie Sanders who said, ah ha ha, I was right, we should have gun control, look at my policies, fuck off. Fuck the fuck off. 50 people died, 53 other were injured. Focus on that for at least 5 minutes before you figure out what you can do for your benefit. What I will say, I was watching a lot of that shit all day Sunday. I woke up, it was the first thing I saw in my social media feed, so I found it on the news. And as it started to roll out, it was, like I say, it hit me pretty damn hard. You know, I'm not part of that community, but I know enough people that are, that, you know, start calling around, start talking to people, start, you know, making sure your friends and loved ones and family members are okay and not shaken up by the events of this past weekend. And it's fucked. It really is. But then you get the political angles and the political this and that, but that's another rant for another day. I mean, there's any number of things. I will say, it made me think of actually Rusev making fun of Muhammad Ali 6 days after he died, which was also pretty grotesque. The one thing I will say, if I want to put a little bit of a humanitarian slant on this, because this is fucking horrible, and you can, like I said, you can do political shit, you can talk about agendas, you can talk about religion, you can talk about terrorism, and this, that, and the next thing, and motives, but at the end of the day, the guy was a fucking scumbag, and the guy took the coward's way out. He's never going to get the justice he deserves, and that's fucking pathetic and sad for us as the human race. That's just a thing. The one thing I will say, the one that I hope a lot of people, if you weren't watching the news, if you weren't, if you were living under a rock and didn't hear about this, go back, watch some of the newscasts, and what I want you to focus on is the footage of just outside that club in Orlando, where people were flowing out in droves, helping each other, you know, making sure each other were okay, getting each other help, and in some cases, actually carrying each other to medical support. Those are the type of people that I believe should get the spotlight in an event like this. You know, you got your first responders and your political representatives and the police force and the security forces and the medical staff, who all do fucking amazing shit, don't get me wrong, but the people that were just part of that crowd and helping each other, and like I say, if you go back and you watch the video, literally throngs of people carrying each other down the road to medical assistance, those are the people that deserve the spotlight. And if there is a silver lining on such a shitty situation, it is those people that show the coming together of human. I'm not verbalizing very well what I'm trying to say here, because it's so fucking shit. Just focus on that, you know, do a news story on them. Stop plastering this asshole all over the place with his fucking Facebook selfie like he's something important. He's a fucking coward. He's a fucking scumbag, and he deserves worse than what he got. And I'm sorry if that gets me hate. If you don't think this guy deserves worse than he got, if you don't think this guy is like the hot dog water of the human race, then, like I say, just fuck off and get off my channel. That's all. For anybody, any of my, I don't know what the analytics are on my channel. Anybody in Orlando, anybody around Orlando that was affected by this, anybody that knows anybody that was affected by this, anybody that had friends or family in that club, whether they're okay or in the hospital, or whether they were one of the ones that were taken from us, honest to fucking God, my heart goes out to all of you guys. My heart goes out to Orlando as a whole, and it's fucking shit. It really is. And I don't know. I'm bad at shit like this, because it's not usually something I come up here and discuss. It's not usually something that I make part of my reviews. You know, if there's a shooting and they acknowledge it on Raw, I'll include that as part of my Raw review because it happened on the show. Or if a wrestler passes away and it was somebody that I knew really well, I'll do that because this is a wrestling channel. This is one of those things where I needed to say something. A lot of you noticed that I was very, very vocal on Facebook, on Twitter, for the past 48 hours or so. Some people were saying that I was taking over the airwaves of the social media, and it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I was. You know what else? I'm just outside Toronto in Canada. They're down there in fucking Orlando, Florida. What the fuck am I going to do from here other than be rageful because it's a rage-inducing scenario? It's, again, it's one of those, if this doesn't piss you off, if this doesn't get you riled up, if this doesn't punch you in the gut, then you're missing a piece somewhere. And I'm sorry, that sounds judgmental, and it's not how I usually am with you guys, and it's not usually how I am in general. But if this doesn't affect you, if you can see this on the news or see some of the stuff that I was watching over the past weekend and not have it give you pause and not have that sort of pit in your stomach, like, what the fuck are we doing feeling, then something inside you is missing. And that's fucking sad. Like I say, focus on the heroes in this scenario, because there are some heroes. Like I say, the first responders, the medical staff, the police, the law enforcement, the civilians that came together and helped each other and all that sort of thing should be the focus, and should be who we all as a human race aspire to be, and stop making a celebrity out of this scumbag. So that diatribe out of the way, I'm going to try and liven the mood once again. Going into the Raw preview tonight, we knew a bunch of things were going to happen on Raw tonight. We've got the Cena and Styles contract signing. It's not the title match, but we're going to get a contract signing for these guys, because these guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they make this the main event on Sunday. And I wouldn't exactly mind either. Rollins and Roman Reigns are going to be on the Ambrose Asylum, which they advertised last week. They did a skit backstage with Breezango stripping in the change room and getting ready to go into the tanning bed together, naked, and Golden Truth lock them in and turn up the heat, which is going to lead to some funny shenanigans on Raw, except it just didn't, and that's... yeah. Cesaro versus Zayn is going to happen tonight. They announced for Money in the Bank that we're going to get Charlotte and Dana versus Becky and Natalya, because fuck having a women's title match on a pay-per-view during your women's evolution. New Day, Enzo and Cass are going to take on the Vaudevillains and the Club in an 8-man tag, and there is going to be a former SmackDown general manager backstage at Raw again tonight, following up on the Teddy Long stuff from last week. Now, this is pretty damn lame. They're going to bring back, people that were the SmackDown general manager at some point, just to do little cameo appearances from here until the draft. It's corny. It's not going to amount to anything. Shane's going to run one, and Stephanie's going to run the other. We know that. We know that that's how it's going to come down. If they want to do these little comedic bits so that all these former GMs can have a little cameo appearance, as long as it doesn't affect the show, it's one of those things I can let it slide. But yeah, more than usual as far as information was given to us during the pre-show. Started off the show, like I said, with the moment of silence for Orlando, the "We Stand with Orlando" banner on the Titantron. All the wrestlers out there doing their respectful thing. John Cena front and center, obviously. Sasha Banks was there, who wasn't on the show, so fuck it. Nice to see Vince McMahon and the entire McMahon family out there. As a unit, which is cool. And like I say, we all can come up here on a daily basis and shit on WWE for all the things they do wrong. With stuff like this, I do think they deserve a bit of credit. They do stuff like this right. There's no and, there's no there's no but, there's no... They just do shit like this right, and it's good, and it's, they're a big publicly traded company, they're the icon of this industry, they kind of have to do things like this pretty good. New Day, Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains and the Club is the first match of the night. There's a lot of comedy before we get to the beginning of this match. New Day comes out, they're ripping on Kofi Kingston for his shoes, apparently they're old man shoes. Kofi Kingston saying respect your elder and talking about how much longer he's been there than them. Enzo and Cass come out, and Enzo and Cass rip Kofi Kingston for his shoes, etc. And Vaudevillains come out and they do their boring vaudevillain thing. And the Club come out without AJ Styles, which is a nice touch, and just point out how stupid everybody's being. Because as much as I love Enzo and Cass, as much as I love the New Day, and as much as I am lukewarm at the best of times on the Vaudevillains, all three of their gimmicks are pretty silly compared to the Club. Like, the Club is a tag team I could see one day going up against the Dudley Boys and having, like, a fucking, like, bloody brawl with. They're not gimmicky. They're not going out there telling jokes. They're not out there doing catchphrases. They're not pretending to be black and white actors, And it's cool to have a group like them come out and sort of break the mold, break the camaraderie of all that joking around, and just come in and kick some ass, which is good. Anyways, Kofi works, as we get into the match, my notes just say lots of comedy. As we get into the match, Kofi works on English's arm, monkey flip by English, corner spear by Big E, poetry in motion by Big E and Kofi Kingston made me pop, unicorn stampede on Gotch, slingshot low drop kick as usually follows with that. Double team corner splash by Enzo and Cass, suplex by Gotch, body blows by Gallows, and a slam twice. Bicycle kick and mounted punches by Anderson and a mudhole stomp. He does a mudhole stomp and tags in English as well, and they're sort of mocking the unicorn stampede. It's all good. Knee drops by English, head scissor by Enzo, shoulder to everyone by Cass off the hot tag, and a power slam on one of the Vaudevillains. I think it was English. suicide dive on all of the vaudevillains by, or sorry, not all, both of the vaudevillains by Kofi Kingston sends us into commercial break. We come back from commercial break, and Big E's got Simon Gotch in an abdominal stretch, and then he hits him with a back elbow as soon as he gets out of it. Mudholes by Anderson, and then mudholes by English, mocking the unicorn stomp yet again. Knee lift by Gotch and body blows by Gallows. Body blows by Gallows is really his contribution to this match, which is kind of sad. Corner avalanche by Gallows, rolling clotheslines and multiple drop kicks by Kofi Kingston, leading to a boom drop. Pendulum kick and a cross body by Kofi as well, and a boot by Cass. Belly to belly on the floor by Big E. Magic Killer by the Club gets the win for the Club and the VOD. Pretty cool. Those 4 teams are going to face on Sunday. I really hope the Club wins. I don't really know what else to say. Actually, I do know what else to say. I really hope the Club wins, and I really hope after that the Enzo and Cass chase the Club for the titles for a while, because that could be a cool thing going into SummerSlam. I still don't care about Darren Young and Bob Backlund. Moving on. Shane and Steph in the back. They fight over who's running Raw, who's running SmackDown, and Kane shows up. So yes, Kane is the former GM that's going to be on thing tonight. Kane makes a play for a job. He says he wants to run SmackDown. I think it's funny that he says he can make SmackDown red hot because Raw is the red brand. He even opens up his suitcase to hand them a resume and a letter of recommendation from his brother, The Undertaker. For reasons. Titus O'Neil is supposed to have a match, but thanks to Rusev, he doesn't. There's a beatdown, there's an accolade on the ramp, and I don't care. The one thing I will say is that now Titus O'Neil finally knows what it felt like when he assaulted Vince McMahon on the same ramp. Oh yes. We see videos, we've been seeing videos all the way through the first hour on the history of the Shield, when they first debuted at Survivor Series, you know, becoming tag champions and U.S. champ, leading up into the breakup by Seth Rollins. This is all, of course, leading up into the Ambrose Asylum with Rollins and Reigns. Ambrose comes out, says he's glad to have his show back, thanks to Shane, obviously, puts over the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and a couple of the matches that are on it, introduces Rollins, introduces Reigns. The best thing I have seen in a long time is a sign right on the hard camera during this whole fucking segment that says, Seth Rollins is the Power Ranger Weasel Jesus. Oh yes, if you don't believe me, check my Twitter at Spaz Phoenix. You will see that there, and it's fucking great. Whoever made that sign wins the night. They all start talking. They all start talking about Rollins' knee and the WWE special that they did on his rehab, the fact that he's 100% for Money in the Bank. And then, you know, Ambrose buddies up with Roman Reigns. They mock Rollins. They talk about the old times. You know, Rollins looks all pissed off by everything that's happening so far. Ambrose calls him a party pooper, and the crowd starts a party pooper chant, which is fan-fucking-tastic. They talk about more Shield stuff. They talk about the memories, the good times, and, you know, when they won championships, when they had the great matches against the Wyatts and against Evolution and all that sort of thing. But Rollins says, yeah, we had some good times. The best time I remember having is putting chairs to both of your backs and breaking up this group. And hey, Ambrose, I know you weren't there, but when I went to WrestleMania and ruined his title shot against Brock Lesnar, I loved that too. Roman never beat me. He's not the champ. Yeah, while I've been gone, he's beaten you, Dean. He's beaten Triple H. He even beat Sheamus. Wow. But he's never beaten me. At Money in the Bank, I'm going to win back the title I never lost. And then Ambrose puts in the extra little caveat on the end. As the host of the show, hey, on Sunday, is it going to be Roman or is it going to be Rollins? Or am I going to win Money in the Bank and knock one of you guys out and walk out with the belt myself? Which is fucking great. I know the Ambrose Asylum is a lame gimmick in general, but Ambrose does the lame shit well, if that makes sense. He makes the lame shit entertaining. AJ Styles is going to be on Austin's podcast next Monday to talk about either beating or being beaten by John Cena. Steph encounters Ambrose in the back and basically makes fun of, oh, you got one by me, you talked to my brother, you got your show back. But this is not the last time we're going to see you tonight, because you're going to face one of your opponents from Sunday, in the main event tonight. It's going to be you versus Chris Jericho. We have a Paige sighting. We have Paige versus Charlotte, obviously with Becky and Natty on commentary, and Dana Brooke in Charlotte's corner. Doesn't last very long, but collar and elbow tie-up, knocked down by Charlotte, boot by Paige, back elbow by Charlotte, dirty, dirty, dirty running knee by Paige, and it's pretty. They get into a chop battle, a pinning reversal sequence, and Paige tosses Charlotte out of the ring to where Natty and Becky are. Why are we beeping? I'm doing a video. Natty and Becky talk trash, but don't actually do anything. Dana Brooke sees this, thinks that they're going to do something, so she's going to protect her partner by throwing her back into the ring. Throwing her back into the ring into a super kick, a rampage, and a Paige victory. Oh, and fuck yes. This was good. We're going to play up this whole, like, Charlotte's the frustrated, struggling champion because she doesn't have her dad to lean on anymore. I like that. It's good. I really don't like that there's a tag match at the pay-per-view. I get the whole Dana Brooks coming to Raw was sort of hinging on her relationship with Emma, and Emma's injured, so they had to put her with somebody else because they don't quite want to put her on her own yet. I get all of that. I really do. Have her in Charlotte's corner, have Charlotte versus Becky for the title, have Dana... I don't know, have Dana cost Becky the match. They have a tag match the following night on Raw or something like that. The matches at the pay-per-views involving the champions, and trust me, this is not the only time I'm going to say this tonight, should be title matches. Owens is in the back. He wants to talk to Stephanie, but the only one that's there is Shane. He rats out Alberto Del Rio for being late to the show. Alberto Del Rio hasn't shown up yet. He just walked in the door. This isn't professional. Roddy. You should take him out of the Money in the Bank ladder match. Alberto Del Rio comes in, yells at him, says, you said some bullshit to airport security. They kept me there for 5 hours. He starts yelling in Spanish. Owens starts yelling in French. Kane steps into the scene once again, says, you guys need a team building exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you guys a tag team. I'm going to put you guys against the Lucha Dragons tonight. And if the Lucha Dragons beat you guys tonight, they get your spots in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Which is fine, I guess. And Owens thinks he's got the better of the situation where he said, well, it's a good thing you're not in charge because that's a stupid idea. And Shane says, well, actually, we're going to run with it. Cesaro versus Sami Zayn, which was very well hyped, and Twitter blew up and all that sort of thing because of what they did on NXT. I will say, nothing wrong with the match that I'm about to talk about, but it was missing something, guys. Face versus face, so that's interesting as far as crowd reaction, but just, I know it's on Raw, and they didn't have a lot of time, but there was something missing from this match. Anyways, collar and elbow tie-up, and Zayn works the arm drag by Cesaro, and a head scissor by Zayn, side headlock by Zayn, a backbreaker by Cesaro, uppercuts by Cesaro, lots of them, and he tosses Sami Zayn out of the ring as we go to commercial break. Uppercut trained by Cesaro as we get back from commercial break, and a double foot stomp. I think he actually goes for the neutralizer. It fails, so he settles for a double foot stomp. At least that's what it looked like to me. Boot by Cesaro, clothesline by Zayn, and a Michinoku driver, for reasons. Cesaro dropkicks Zayn off the top rope to the apron and then does his deadlift vertical suplex from the second rope thing that he does. That is impressive, but it's kind of like, what can I compare it to? John Cena giving the AA to the Big Show. It's always impressive, don't get me wrong. It's never not an impressive feat, but once you've seen it once, you've kind of seen it. So, they do a big, elaborate counter wrestling sequence that I'm not even going to try and describe. And then Zayn rolls into a Canadian Destroyer type finisher and gets the win. So it wasn't the Haluva kick, it wasn't the Blue Thunder Bomb, it wasn't any of those. It wasn't that, through the turnbuckles DDT that he does. It was this flipping pile driver power bomb thing that resembled the Canadian Destroyer somewhat. It was impressive, don't get me wrong. And that big deadlift suplex that Cesaro does is impressive, but the rest of this match was rushed, and it was kind of bland. I know, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, thou shalt not speak ill of either of those guys, and I'm not, but this match was not as good as it could have been. The Cena AJ Styles contract signing. Michael Cole introduces John Cena, who talks about fantasy what-if matches. Talks about Styles being rejected by the WWE brass for so long. He doesn't understand why such a great talent was rejected by WWE, even though WWE is my home and I love it here. I don't know why they would keep a talent like his out. He went out and he started name dropping. This guy went out to PWG and ROH and New Japan, and he's won more titles out there than I've won in here. He's really putting AJ over. He was once known as the best guy to never be in the WWE, and we will make history this Sunday. But to make history, we need Mr. Styles out here. AJ comes out, all cocky as shit. I've turned your world upside down. They're talking about what I did to you a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to do it again on Sunday because you can't beat me. Cena asks Michael Cole to leave the ring because this contract signing is going to be a little bit different. He gives him 2 contracts. One says Cena versus AJ Styles. One says Cena versus Sorry, guys. One says Cena versus AJ Styles. One says Cena versus AJ Styles and the club. It says a bunch of stuff about making history and recapturing the electricity from a couple weeks ago. He says you could either do that or you could choose B and choose that you are the captain of the bitch club, which is nice, I suppose. You know, we could have a story where, you see me as this big bad guy that's run the place for way too long. You could be the mighty underdog that slays the giant. The universe will be divided and it'll be great. AJ Styles, gets all defensive. He says, you think I can't win. Why? Because you're a 15-time champion? Because you've won 2 Royal Rumbles and you're the face that runs the place? What if I was here 15 years ago? If I was here 15 years ago, you wouldn't have had those 15 titles. You wouldn't have won 2 Royal Rumbles, and I would be the face running the place. Cena does this diatribe next, and I give Cena a lot of shit. You guys know that, and most people do. But the next one, and I tried to write down most of it. I didn't get it all, but this is the bulk of it. You just need to shut up. Your club isn't full of bullets, it's full of bullshit. You're all you entitled indie kids saying it should have been me. You're too stupid to take the chance that you have now. That is fucking beautiful. Take an arrow right through the heart of every fucking smark in that crowd. It's fucking great. If you take option B, I won't have to bury you because you'll bury yourself. You'll get on a bullet train back to Japan and try to find your nuts because you clearly left them there. Both of them signed the first contract, the one that didn't say the club on it, so that it is going to be one-on-one. And he says, AJ Styles says, and I'm going to prove your Kmart shopping ass wrong, which is fucking great. I'm looking forward to this match. I'm not going to lie. This segment was the best thing on Raw. Lucha Dragons versus Owens and Alberto Del Rio is next. This told a decent story about, partners that don't get along versus a well-oiled tag team like the Lucha Dragons. But kicks and a back suplex by Alberto Del Rio to Kalisto to get us started. Tree of Woe beatdown by Alberto Del Rio and boots by Owens. Vertical suplex by Alberto Del Rio and Owens bails. Owens bails, but he does that whole, hey, fuck. If he loses, then I lose. And if we lose, then we're not in the thing. So he comes back. Owens and Alberto Del Rio argue. They get a double drop kick and a double suicide dive by the Dragons as we go to commercial break. Top rope seated senton by Kalisto and a clothesline by Owens. Running senton by Owens, and Owens and Alberto Del Rio argue again. Kalisto kicks Alberto Del Rio into Owens, who sells on the outside, I guess like they cracked heads or whatnot, and hits the Salito del Sol to Alberto Del Rio, which on my notes says SDS to ADR. Because abbreviation. Swanton Bomb by Sin Cara, which looks pretty for anybody that doesn't remember how good Sin Cara actually is. Slingshot crossbody by Sin Cara on Owens. Springboard back elbow by Sin Cara and a moonsault. Alberto Del Rio tosses Kalisto into the rail on the outside. Pop-up powerbomb by Owens gets the obvious win for Owens and Alberto Del Rio. While Owens is celebrating, he eats a boot from Alberto Del Rio as we end the segment, which is fucking great. We get Miz live on Facebook from the set of Marine 5. I get this. I really do. I get that he's supposed to be playing up like The Rock did. Kind of. He's the superstar. He's the movie star. He's the celebrity. He's too good to show up on Raw. You guys go have fun on Sunday. I'm going to be here killing it in Hollywood type thing with my Intercontinental Championship, and I get what that's supposed to do. I really do, and I commend WWE for it. They're using multimedia forums. They're making Miz look like a douchebag who doesn't even want to show up and fight. He's the self-important Hollywood asshole pretty much. But all this really did was remind us that we're getting no representation at all of the Intercontinental Championship on Sunday at Money in the Bank, which is kind of shit. Shane and Stephanie try to one-up each other about how they're going to make the main event better. Shane puts Sami Zayn on commentary. Stephanie puts Owens on commentary. Stephanie makes Alberto Del Rio the guest timekeeper, and Shane makes Cesaro the ring announcer. He announces Jericho as being from Stupid Idiotville, and he announces Dean Ambrose as the guy that looks like he just got out of bed. Not very much hope for this main event when we've got all these combustible elements by the commentary table and there's only 10 minutes left in the show. But Slaps and punches by Ambrose, crossbody by Ambrose, and corner chops. Chops by Jericho. Ambrose kicks Jericho off the apron. Suicide dive by Ambrose, and suicide dive by Ambrose takes out Jericho. Ambrose takes a minute to walk over to commentary and take away Owens' headset. And Byron Saxton says commentary just got better. Oh, except no. Jericho tosses Ambrose into the rail on the outside while he's distracted. Top rope axe handle by Jericho and an enziguri. Alberto Del Rio, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro all sort of have a standoff outside the ring. Alberto Del Rio's got a chair in his hand. You could think something's going to happen, but what happens instead is commercial break. Come back. Jericho's riding a headlock and clotheslines Ambrose. Top rope facebuster by Ambrose. Walls of Jericho. Lion salt by Jericho. Clothesline by Ambrose. Standing elbow drop by Ambrose, and a Dirty Deeds gets the win for Ambrose. The predictable 5-man brawl follows. I say 5 instead of 6 because Jericho sort of weasels his way out of it. The 5 guys take each other out on the outside. Jericho takes that opportunity to grab a ladder, grab the briefcase that's been hanging over the ring all night to remind us that it's Money in the Bank this Sunday. Grab the briefcase. Here's the guy that created this match, grabbing that briefcase metaphorically to say what he's going to do literally on Sunday, and that's how we end the show. And based on that one image alone, I know nobody will agree with me on this, and I know it's not who I want to win, but if Jericho finally, he created the Money in the Bank match before WrestleMania 21. We just had WrestleMania 32. The match that he invented 11 years ago, if they finally let him win one, I'm not going to have hard feelings about that. I'm really not. I know he's a part-timer. He's supposed to be putting over the other guys. We want the Shield triple threat, which we're going to get eventually anyway. Let's be real. They're all pushing towards the Ambrose wins Money in the Bank. He makes the match a triple threat match, and we push it out into SummerSlam. You can see that a mile away. I get that. I get why people want it. I want to see it too. But if you want to look at the history of this particular match and its origins and all that sort of thing, finally giving Jericho a win wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And that's how we ended Raw. It was really decent. There was so much focus on the top 4 matches going into Money in the Bank this Sunday. I'm excited for more than half of this card. It's a proper card of 2 halves. I'm not going to talk about them because we are going to do live Tackle with myself and Kristen and Guapo tomorrow night around 11 o'clock my time. Find out what that is your time. The closest major city to me is Toronto, so 11 o'clock Toronto time. Figure out what that is for you. Tell your friends. We hope to be going live 11 o'clock or shortly after, depending on technical difficulties. We will be doing the full preview. You'll get my thoughts on all these matches then. But the first half, Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. We could really do better for Apollo Crews for an opponent than Sheamus, could we not? The women's tag, I'm sure will be great. You got 4 talented girls in there, but you need to be doing something with the women's championship if you want to keep that women's evolution thing going. Rusev versus Titus O'Neil, I could not be paid to give a fuck about. Now, on the other side of that coin, you got Enzo and Cass versus the Vaudevillains versus the New Day versus the Club. Fan-fucking-tastic. You've got the Money in the Bank ladder match itself with Jericho, Ambrose, Zayn, Cesaro, Alberto Del Rio, and Jericho. You've got Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, which has the story built in. It's already right there. WWE didn't have to do anything, therefore they didn't fuck anything up. And you've got, realistically, the Smarks versus the WWE fans with AJ Styles versus John Cena, which I predict, no offense to anybody else, is going to be the match of the night. I know. It's a Cena match, but it's going to be match of the night. I'm predicting that right now. Anyways, I'm excited for Sunday. I hope you guys are excited for Sunday. I hope Raw and my rambling here and what we do next Sunday has raised a bunch of spirits from all the bullshit that happened this past weekend. For those of you that were not interested in that little diatribe I had in the first couple of minutes of this video, I'm sorry. I had some shit to get off my chest, and this is my podium. This is my outlet. This is my platform to do that. So let's be real. You could have always fast forwarded it a couple minutes, could you not? Anybody with any thoughts before Money in the Bank can put it down in the box below. Any predictions or any fantasy booking towards Money in the Bank you want to share with me down in the box below would be great. Or save them, put them in the live chat for Tackle tomorrow night with myself, Kristen, and Guapo. There will be a link floating around Twitter sometime tomorrow so that you guys can put that on your schedules, because I know I'm the first thing on your schedule. No, I'm really not, am I? Really? I do hope some of you will join us. I know there are some of the loyals on this channel that have taken quite awesomely to the Google Hangouts that I've been trying to do. I will redirect you guys to the Black Cat Feline channel, where Guapo and Kristen and I did review Takeover The End, which was a pretty good show. So if you want my thoughts on that, go over to their channel. It's over there. Shout out to them in general. You should subscribe to them in general, but especially for that, if you want my NXT thoughts. As you guys know, I'm not doing SmackDown reviews until after the draft, because fuck it. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow night in the preview video, and I will talk to you probably next Monday after Raw, after that. Anyways, lost my train of thought entirely. So default answer is, I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.